Welcome back to Beards, Bourbon, and Games. I'm your co-host, Corey the Conqueror.
And I'm Mike.
And we're going to unbox some accessories.
Shinies.
You know what? It's not about the size of the knife. It's about the technique that you use it.
Hey, we're going to tell you something, man. Alright, so first thing we're going to start with is the controller. We kind of looked at the controller a little bit in our unboxing video of the PlayStation 5. We didn't go into too much detail on it, just kind of our initial first impressions. So as you can see, it talks about the hippopotamus feedback, which is I cannot believe I can't say that. The adaptive triggers, which is really cool as far as like pulling a bow back. As you pull in, it pulls the bow. Built-in microphone, of course, into it, which is really neat. And of course, signature comfort is what it calls.
Haptic feedback.
Haptic.
Say hap. Say hap.
Hap.
Tick.
Tick.
Haptic.
Hippopotamus. So again, PlayStation has opted for this packaging that is not as satisfying as the Xbox, which makes me kind of sad. You have this kind of thick paper on the outside, and then it's surrounding a box, so you kind of have a pull tab to help you pull it out. And this is, again, it's just a piece of that'll fold flat. Unlike the Xbox, this kind of raises up, yeah. Unless, maybe we're wrong here. This might be really neat. Nope. Nope, not as satisfying. So, again, like we talked about originally, I really like the feel of this controller. Get that out of the way. This comes with another charger. It did not come with another charging cable. Huh.
Interesting design choice.
I figured it would. Whoops. I really like the feel of this controller in my big meaty hands. Yeah, you turn those buttons. Yeah. It feels good. It just like fits right in there real nice. The buttons on the back is something we were noticing before. As you squeeze them in, there is resistance on them, which I'm guessing is that adaptive trigger that they're talking about. You got kind of the standard push button up top, and in the back you can kind of just feel it as it pushes down. There's more resistance.
I do like the back triggers more on the PlayStation than I do the Xbox.
I do too. I do like the new strives they made with the little switch there for the Xbox, but this is very cut and dry where you're switching when you're switching from R1 to R2.
That's important in Demon Souls, by the way.
Yeah, it is. You have your share button, of course, and your menu button. The share button is something that was added this generation for Xbox. They kind of followed suit on here. They left the touchpad here in this generation. A lot of people were wondering if they were going to get rid of it, but they kept it. It's also a button. Let's see if this one has some charge. So it lights up around, which is really nice. Let's see if we can get that. Something else really cool is it lights up different colors here depending on what player you are to help you keep track of which player you are, which is very nice. It's a very nice touch. Overall, it feels very good, though. I'm really excited to get some gaming in with this. It's quite a change from their previous models. It has some callbacks to their old previous models, but it definitely just falls in your hand. I like what they've done with it. What do you think here?
I agree.
Let's just grab a second one here and let's just go right out.
Very interesting. It is a bit chunkier than the PS4 controller, and it feels heavier too.
Does it? Let's find out. So, this is a little more, I don't know, the word I want to use is blocky, because it kind of jerks down a little bit more. This is very, very smooth. It has very smooth all the way through. Just kind of got some sharp drop-offs here. Very raised buttons. The D-pads on these, not D-pads, the analog sticks are a lot smoother on these for some reason. You have, of course, your options, your share. It's very similar controllers. It's just the lights on the back here instead of being built into it. Which is quite neat. Of course, you have your plug-in here for a headset or different accessories, just like you did on the old controller.
So, how's the battery life on these?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Some of the reports that we're hearing is pretty bad, like 3 hours, which is not good for a gaming session. This is supposed to have a thicker battery in it though, which is something I don't get. I don't know if it's the
lights,
it's the hippo feedback, or if it's just all the extra bells and whistles put into it, but I hope that's not true. I will be doing a follow-up on this to find out if in fact it is 3 hours, which means I have to play games for 3 hours straight. Oh, poor me. But let's do some comparisons here of these. So, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3. As you can see, as this goes on, start to get a little more. I keep using the word blocky, but sharp edges. You know, the lines kind of keep going. This one had 4-player lights. I think this is the first true wireless controller that the PlayStation came out with. It was the big 6-axis controller, which is really neat because it's the first one that actually felt when you do this. And in some games, you could actually fly with it. I remember when that came out. Rain, yep. You could fly doing this. It was really cool. And this one still feels pretty good in your hand. I always liked how the PlayStation controllers felt, just because I'm a big guy, big meaty hands.
Well, I'm glad though that they made this longer, because your hands right here.
Yes, I agree with that completely. And they seem to have kept that in the new controller. Like I have, my whole hand grips this, which is a lot better.
Get used to this design. You're going to see it for the next little bit.
Yeah. So after that, we went to the PlayStation 2, which was a wired controller, which is
Almost
the
DualShock
2 controller. Very, very similar. The back buttons this was a little more free floating. These were kind of blocky to kind of help. This had the same issue. My fingers kind of pulled off the sides. Of course, at the time I was a kid, so I had smaller hands. And then we have the PlayStation 1, which had 2 different controllers. We have
This is known as the DualShock controller. Looks very similar, as you can tell.
DualShock, DualShock 2, DualShock 3.
A 6-axis DualShock 3.
Yeah. But the reason for this is they needed to add joysticks for games, because they hit a weird period where games kind of evolved right in the middle of the PS1's lifespan. And most games didn't use these. A lot of games would still use the directional pads, but it didn't feel as good, and so you wanted to use the joysticks, which that really took off in the PS2 era, starting to use the joysticks more often.
Of course, now it's just second nature. Almost every game uses a joystick, and their D-pads are usually locked to like weapon changes.
It's the menu button. But there's another one.
The original, the OG, before the DualShock.
It looks so basic.
It's so light though. This is less than half the weight of this controller. This is I could chuck this way across the room, and this one about half the distance.
And the reason for that is this one has what's called rumble motors in them.
They would spin and create a vibration in the controller. Nintendo did this with the Nintendo 64 via a rumble pack, which was an add-on to the controller. It wasn't as good as this, because this was built in the controller.
This was an interesting time too because you had some games that had a DualShock version. One of our favorite games that you know by now, Resident Evil. Resident Evil had the original Resident Evil, and then it had a DualShock release that took advantage of this. That was heralded as probably the worst version of the game. But we'll get into that later.
RE2 version wasn't bad.
RE2 DualShock was actually really good.
Because they gave you the submachine gun for free and had unlimited ammo, so all the DACA you need.
And you thought you were going to get through a video with us talking about Resident Evil. Haha! Alright, so this is kind of the controller throughout the ages. It's really neat to see the evolution of it going all the way to the latest generation. I really like this controller. I'm just very scared about the battery life. But there's a really nice accessory to take advantage of that, isn't there?
There is.
The charging station.
Oh, yeah.
Take a look at her.
Alright.
This is one of those accessories that was actually really hard to get a hold of. Controllers everywhere. This sold out really fast.
Alright, let's get this. Oh, again, I'm a bigger fan of the Microsoft unboxing experience.
And that's it.
Alright, so when you open up the box here, you get a manual. You get,
Oh, what is that? Is that a power brick?
There's a power brick.
Wow.
Huh, odd.
You see, this is actually very interesting. I thought this would plug into the...
They could have done this worse. Oh, I know why they made it separate. So you can put it next to your couch. It's like this. I'm playing. Battery's dead. Hook it up. Unlock the new one.
Oh, wow. That's a really good thing. Yeah, I thought this would plug into the system because a lot of the ones plug into the system.
So you got your AC adapter there. I am not a fan of these connectors.
Yeah.
These things seem like they break very easily.
Maybe you're just rough on them.
I am. Alright. Here. Such finesse.
Such finesse.
We have the charging cradle.
Wow. It looks like a mini PlayStation. So this is the PlayStation 5.
S model.
S model. If you don't like the large, fat PlayStation 5, this is the model you want to get.
With the power of the cloud.
Power of the cloud. It is very sleek.
Whoa.
Actually, I'm actually in love with the design of this. It is very pretty.
And on the bottom, you have the AC adapter port. So, good for Sony. So like that.
Oh wow, it's actually quite protected too. So when you get it in there all the way, it actually helps protect it so it doesn't fall out. Oh, that's not bad.
Okay.
That is actually really well designed.
Does it go like that? Yeah. Does it have receptors at the bottom of it? Oh, yeah, it does. Okay.
Is that where we plug in?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. They just cradle right on there.
Not bad.
That actually looks very nice. I really like that a lot. That is... I love the design of that. I really do. What do you think?
I think they did a good job of keeping up the theme. Again, I like the light.
Don't like the white?
No.
What if we can fix this?
I think we can.
Think we can fix that?
We can.
What do you think?
Alright, that's all the time we have for today's episode. I hope you liked the accessory unlock video of the controller. Word for it. I think it's pretty neat. They did a good job. It seems very sturdy. What do you think, Mike?
I'm pretty happy with it.
Cool.
Pretty happy with it. I'm worried about the charging of the controllers, but with that dock, it won't be too bad.
Let's see.
We'll see what happens.
All right. As always, I'm your co-host Corey the Conqueror,
And I'm Mike.
and we'll
See ya.